Hi, my name is Katie and this is Interactive Concept 8, Kinetic Sand. So kinetic sand is basically sand that has created a squishy texture so you can play with it and mold it and put it in different shapes without having to really add it to water, and it holds those shapes. So I'm going to be making it today with sand, water, dish soap, and cornstarch. So here's my sand. This is sand that has actually been collected from the beach. I specifically went to Ko'olina, which is a resort location. I'm actually hoping that some of it was fake sand and not real Hawaii sand, but I think it is real Hawaii sand. And I'll get to later why I hope that it is more the fake sand and why that's important. But we'll do the experiment and see how it works. Here's my dish soap here. And here is my cornstarch. So the combination of, and also I have a little bit of water in a bowl here. So the combination of these ingredients is going to create a polymer that it allows it to become viscous, and when you put more pressure on this viscous substance, it's going to become more moldable over time and more in a solid shape. A polymer is a long repeating chain of molecules that gives sand its stretchy property in kinetic sand. So let's see if we can do it. So here's my sand. I'm going to add cornstarch. All right, so here's my cornstarch. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in here. And starch is also a binding substance. All right, so here we have my cornstarch and sand. And then I'm going to take liquid dish soap and put it in the water here. I'm gonna put a lot of it. This is the, it's gonna be holding it together to create my kinetic sand, my polymer. All right, actually, I probably need something to mix this with. One moment. All right, I have something to mix this with, so I'm gonna mix it up really good. Mix that water with the soap. And then I'm going to just, actually I'll first mix my sand and my cornstarch so that it becomes one substance. So with the sand, what I was talking about earlier, sand is typically made of silica, and silica is what sand is made out of on the continental US. However, sand in Hawaii is made out of calcium carbonate, which is a totally different substance. It's actually from coral reef, as opposed to the continental land, which contains silica in the US, or continents. But if I were in California, the sand that I collect from the beach would be made of silica, and what this would be creating is silicone as a polymer in that chain that is pliable and would create the kinetic sand effect. Knowing this, I did go to Target to see if they had play sand, but pretty sure with quarantine, all of these fun craft things are completely bought out. So that wasn't there. They did have kinetic sand already made, which I love that stuff. It's really fun. But they did not have just plain old play sand. Neither did Walmart, and Lowe's had sand, but it was made from limestone, which again is not the organic substance that I want to be using to create this effect, because it wouldn't create the polymer that I'm looking for. But let's try it out anyway. Maybe this sand, since it was from a resort beach, maybe it has some silica in it. So I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time, like they did in the video. And then I'm going to mix it. Let's see if it actually does anything. So far, it kind of looks like oatmeal. So this sand is very grainy here, and it actually does look like pieces of coral. If you look at it up close, it looks like tiny little shells, as opposed to that kind of dirt fine texture that sand usually has on the mainland. It smells good. All right, let's see. So I'm adding some pressure to it to create this more viscous effect here. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna actually feel the texture with my hands to see what's going on here. Yeah, it falls apart too quick. There's a little bit of molding that happens, and that's from the starch interacting with the dish soap here. But because my sand is more grainy, but it's calcium carbonate is really what I'm saying there by grainy. It's not holding as well. It kind of just crumples. But the starch mixed with the soap is creating more of a mold. But it doesn't really hold that well. And it is sticking to my fingers. So what would have happened if it were silica? It wouldn't be sticking to my fingers because it's creating that polymer that is being able to create that stretchy quality so that it holds together as one whole in kinetic sand. So yeah, that's what's happening with kinetic sand. It's essentially just showing what happens when you create a polymer with starch and soap. Very messy hands now. And that polymer is that long chain of repeating molecules that gives it that stretchy property. And in the case of sand, it would be silica, and then you'd be creating silicone so that it creates that stretchy, pliable kinetic sand, which is fun to play with. So I might actually just go buy some kinetic sand because now I want to play with kinetic sand. But if I do see any of that play sand come back into stock here, that's something that I would like to try and make myself because we're all bored at home in quarantine. So thank you for watching my presentation on kinetic sand, and I will see you in organic chemistry maybe. All right, bye-bye.